If you're a parent or a teacher, you need to pay attention to this. The FBI has been warning parents and educators about an online extremist network called Group 764 that are targeting children. Now, these children are going to range anywhere from 7, 8 years old until teenage years in high school. And the access to them is through the online gaming and the chat platforms and other available tools that children are exposed to, either in gaming and things like that. Now, FBI counterterrorism leadership has warned parents about the online group, which they call a nihilistic violent extremist group, highlighting the group called 764, which operates on mainstream platforms and encrypted apps. They say that adults inside these networks groom minors, extort them using self generated explicit or violent content, and in some cases, push them towards self harm or school shootings. Now, with all the cases that we've been seeing with the bomb threats that are coming in, this could be one of those situations where these kids are being pushed online to do things like this. Now, this sits in the overlap of online child exploitation, extremist culture, and mass violence leakage, with law enforcement in both the US and Canada now framing the NVD as a national security concern. Authorities confirm grooming, sextortion, violence promotion patterns, but individual case motives and full casualty count linked to 764 in the US and Canada are not fully disclosed. And there's a reason for that. Most of the time, when something like this happened, law enforcement is not going to release everything publicly. Reason being, if there are suspects, the last thing law enforcement wants to let them know is, hey, we're watching you. This is how it works. So if you're one of those parents, you're like, well, we need to know who it is. Listen, there is a criminal case that's going to be coming down the pipe for these people. And unlike what the media makes you believe that you have the right to have all the information, you got to think about prosecution, because there are elements that have to stay out because you don't want to influence a jury's decision. Remember, we still live in the West. There are still processes that people have to go through. Now, do I agree with that? No. I think personally, because there's kids at stake and the violence, that everybody needs to be as much educated as possible. However, you can educate yourself by visiting the FBI website and some of the other websites that are specialized in putting out information on these groups, just to be able to get some insight as to what indicators do I look for. I'll give you some of my own personal opinion. You have a child that's playing games, next thing you know, he's picked up the habit of trying to kick cats. Okay. Or he decides he wants to go out and hunt the birds that are eating outside and then do violent things to birds. Now, with this group 764, they go even further. They make friends with kids online. They learn about their, things in their lifestyle, and they use that to extort them for images. And then they hold those images over their head that if you don't do this, I'm going to tell everybody about these images. And sometimes they'll use AI by using the child's face. That's why it's important to make sure that your child doesn't have access to the camera, because with the way AI is now, they could literally take that face and put it on some sort of disturbing image, and that child is obviously going to be self-aware and self-concerned with the image, and they'll be forced to do something, and that's not where you want your child to be. The best thing you can do is keep track of what your child's activities are online, who they're talking to, and what apps are they using. There are apps out there that help you monitor those kind of things, but at the end of the day, the best thing you can do above that is educate yourself as to what you'll be looking for, because I know a lot of parents are busy. They're working all day. They're coming home trying to take care of their kids. Hey, here's an iPad, go over there and play. You just never know what kind of communication takes place. Make sure you educate yourself. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like, share, follow, make a comment, and be safe and be vigilant.